I have a shocking statistic for you. Do you know what that is? You will forget 90% of what you think you know. In fact, you've already forgotten 90%. Sorry, it's too late. You will forget 90% of your life, if not more. Wow, that seems shocking, right? We feel like we remember things, but if you think about it, if you think about how much of each day we actually remember, it's very little. And if you apply that over time, it's even less. We tend to summarize our life in terms of major arcs, major stories. Kind of create a story that summarizes it. And this is sort of like if we watch a TV show, we don't remember every minute of each TV show and every episode. We don't remember every minute of every episode in a TV show. We remember the major plot points. And that's, out of something that's all highlights. We only remember the highlights of the highlights. Because the show is designed to be something exciting. Even the filler episodes, even like the ones that aren't crucial to the overall story, are still unusual events. They're still the highlights of what's going on in that filler period. You don't see most of the mundane stuff that goes on. Eating breakfast, brushing your teeth, going to bed, yada yada yada. Or if you do, you only see it maybe once. We tend to summarize our life in stories, and we forget most of the details, and even forget sometimes major details in major parts of the story, or the story can change. We might reinterpret our life experiences based on a new experience. Things that we might have regretted in the past, we might learn from and be able to find meaning in, to go forward with and do things a different way. If we're treated poorly, we might realize what that feels like and how we've treated others in that same way, and choose to change our behavior so that we treat others as we wanted to be treated. Now, if you don't really understand what I'm talking about, or even if you do, you should go find a book or a journal or something that you've read, or even a TV show you've seen before. Just say at least a year ago, or more. And if you look through it, you'll realize that you've forgotten almost all of it. It really gives you this visceral sense of how much we forget, how much just goes into oblivion. And you might get some memories from it. Sometimes our access to our memories changes depending on what's going on. We might see something and it triggers a memory. That's why if you go back to your old house that you grew up in as a kid, you might suddenly be flooded with memories. There's all these old cues that are firing, going off. But if you look through the book, chances are you won't remember most of it. You won't even remember most of the highlights or the notes you took or things you found insightful. You might find them insightful now, or you might find them silly, but you probably won't remember most of them. And this can be kind of shocking. It's kind of like a realization that life really is impermanent. Like even things that we take for granted, where is that time? It's gone. We don't even remember it. That doesn't mean we have nothing to show for it, but maybe less than we would like. And it's not all bad. A lot of things we don't necessarily want to or need to remember. But I think it does show how fragile our grasp of life is, of our idea that we know things, that we remember things, that we're, sort of always progressing. Even if we're doing things, we might not be remembering them. So what's the solution to this? There must be a solution. Well, yes. I would say, because we can't cling to anything, really, there's no real knowledge or stuff that we can hold on to, it's best to do things that we know will have a good impact now that will build our capacity for the future. And a lot of this comes down to the fact of use it or lose it. That's sort of the law of nature here. If you're continuing to apply and grow a certain knowledge set or skill set, then it won't decay as quickly. It'll actually continue to improve. But the things that we don't use, even if we find them very useful at a certain period of our life, they're likely to disappear. So we should always be focused on, well, how can I sustain and maintain and rejuvenate these things which are useful and good? How can I take that with me into my daily life? And that can be as simple as practicing the skill of gratitude, writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day, maybe when you wake up or before you go to bed or both. Even if you don't remember the things you're grateful for, that sense of gratitude, as you practice it, it stays with you. Or it can be meditating, or it could be calling that friend that you have been procrastinating on calling, or that family member. Even though you might not remember all of the conversation, you'll be maintaining that relationship with one another. And that does last. And that is a lasting kind of fulfillment. But not forever, because all things that begin also end. But instead of being sad because they're over, we should live such that we are happy because they are complete, and because they happened, and they were joyous. Anyway, something to think about for today.